So here we are at the Teen Center in Reidsville, North Carolina, getting ready to plant a community garden. Today we're going to talk about some of the important steps before the garden can start to grow.
I'm the Family Consumer Science Agent of Rockingham County Cooperative Extension. I focus on health, nutrition, food safety, and fitness. So really we're focusing on having a holistic lifestyle, eating healthy fruits and vegetables, healthy diets, and also getting more physically active. Well, the importance to me is understanding first off where your food is coming from. So it's great to kind of get people to recognize that food doesn't just pop up in grocery stores. A lot of people kind of disconnect from farm to table. They just understand that the food ends up in the grocery store, ends up on their tables. But it's a good idea to understand like what effort goes in, what kind of effort goes into growing your food.
So a lot of people are just a little bit intimidated by the idea of growing plants. They haven't been taught how. They don't think they have enough room where they're living. And so we're having a community garden where they can help each other and meet and grow together, as well as space to plant, is really good. First off, you want to pick a site that has at least 8 hours of sunlight. That's what we've picked here behind us. And we also want to have wind protection. So this wonderful tarp that's hanging here is going to give us wind protection. The fence is also important to keep out wildlife like deer. They're a real problem with gardens. Once we've picked the site, prepare the area, and one of the things we're doing here is we're doing raised beds. So the first thing that was done was put down some black landscape fabric on top of the grass. Then on top of that was made the red raised beds, and soil was put inside of there. The next step was to add lime to try and raise the pH. Most of our crops like a pH of about 6. To make sure we've done this correctly, we're going to do a soil test. Soil tests in North Carolina are free from the North Carolina Department of Agriculture. How we're going to do this is we're going to take a bucket. It needs to be plastic. Metal buckets don't work. They mess up your soil test. So we're going to have a bucket. Then we take a clean trowel. It's very important the trowel be clean. So this one was cleaned with 10% Lysol. And then we're going to get subsamples. So this one's going to be real easy to do because we have a variety of raised beds. So Jordan's going to get a sample 8 inches deep from each one of the raised beds. The idea is to get a uniform sample. So we're going to get that, pour it in the box, and take that to NCDA. While he's doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about water, because water is one of our biggest problems with community gardens. People like to water, so when we have lots of volunteers, they tend to overwater. So it's important to know how much water the garden's getting, so we have a rain gauge. We're going to put it in one of the beds. What we're aiming for is 1 inch of water a week. That includes rainfall, as well as when volunteers water. Again, we tend to overwater. When people water, it's good to water at first with a watering can. You want to sprinkle on the seedlings and new plants. But once the plants start to grow, then you would like to water from the base and not get the plants wet. The plants getting wet repeatedly causes fungal diseases to grow. Another step that's important in a community garden is to know what plants are in each bed, so people don't weed and pull out plants that we're trying to grow. So we get garden stakes and we write what's in each garden. We have a map so we know what's in each one. So this is our soil. It's very rich in organic matter. We've added compost and different things. I like it because it's light and fluffy. It's not solid red clay. That's a lot of our typical soils here. So once the soil sample is full, you just follow the directions, close 1, close 2, and seal it like this. And then we take it to NCDA. Soil samples can be brought to any of the cooperative extension offices in the state of North Carolina. Do you want to take the rain gauge next?
Yeah.
We'll put this in. Again, we're trying for 1 inch of rain a week. Volunteers tend to overwater because that's a fun activity, especially in the heat. Good to involve all your volunteers. So the volunteers are now putting all the stakes in the beds. They're getting their beds labeled so all the volunteers will know. Jordan put the rain gauge in one of them already. Yep. So So the rain gauge is out there. The next thing we're going to talk about, planting. People always want to plant. One of the fast ways to do it is to buy transplants. Some crops, that's a much easier way to do it than to start from seeds. It's very important that you buy plants that look healthy, that are weed-free, that are labeled, and for each one there should be a hole in the bottom so the roots can come out. And you want to make sure the roots are healthy, so you pull them out. You squeeze the bottom, you turn it over. It's very important that they not be brown, they be white. Okay? The other step is to start seeds yourself. It's very important to make sure you have this year's seeds. All seed packages have a date on the back. This says 2020. This is this year's seeds. You can use old seeds. How it works is the larger the seed, the longer you can store them. They should be stored in a cold, dry area like a freezer. Get a very soft, aerated, dry seed starting mix. Okay? Not something heavy. The difference is a seed starting mix versus a potting mix. You want a seed starting mix. Again, you're going to put your seeds in a container that has holes in it, your seed mix. You're going to label them and you're going to plant them. So these were old seeds, so I planted them heavy. The next important step is to thin them. We thin seedlings with scissors. We do not pull them out. So I'm going to cut all these out right at the soil line. Instead of pulling out to get my desired amount. You do the same thing in a bed. When we plant in the beds, we use a ruler to try and get the right spacing between plants, but even then we thin them with scissors. These are collards. I waited till they got pretty good size, made sure they all survived, and at this stage I would cut them out as well. Not pull them. Some seeds, like these cucumber seeds, are a good size, very easy to plant. Parsley seeds, you can see how small they are. One of the best ways to seed them is to soak them in water for 24 hours and then get a dropper, and you would suck up the seeds, and then I can control how many seeds and where I put them. That's how we prepare seeds. Once you planted them, then it's important to mist them. So we get a spray bottle with a mister and try and keep them wet. Again, we don't want to drown them. We don't want to put water in the bottom of the tray. All the pots have to have holes. The water needs to come out. Okay, are we ready to plant? Now we're actually going to show you how to plant. Here's Jordan, and he's going to level out the bed. We're using a rake, a stone rake, to try and make sure there's not any little low spots. That's important, again, so that plants don't drown. We want it to be as level as possible. It also, if you can see, it's loosening up the soil, making it really fine for planting. Once Jordan's finished with that, we're going to put down the tape measure so that we can make sure we plant our plants far enough apart. Okay, so we're going to lay it down. Got it, Jordan? Okay, so we're aiming for 12 inches apart. So we're going to start at 6 inches and then plant them out. On these kind of plants, we're planting in rows, so we'll use a hoe to make our actual row next to our tape measure. Okay, so we have nice loose soil, and we have the trench we're going to plant into. Then we're going to take out the plants. The next step is going to be to cover them up, and it's really important that you cover up the entire root ball so you don't get wicking. You need to cover it up all the way, and then you water it immediately after planting. Over here for a second. Okay, so if you see low spots at this stage, you level it out. Okay, then we're going to go over a row and do another 12 inches and continue that throughout the bed. Get the purple ones. Got it? Just want to put one in. So we'd already picked out the site, made sure it had enough sunlight. Then we prepared the beds with putting down fabric mat to control the weeds, make the beds, putting good quality soil that was disease and weed free. We tested the soil to see what nutrients might be missing. We put down lime to raise the pH, and then we planted. And we planted plants and seeds.